to the game. But then they'll say, here be the next one. They'll be like, okay, the Biden family may have taken a bribe, but it was the Burisma people that pushed it. Actually, that's wrong too. Federalist Margot Cleveland. The Bidens coerced Burisma to pay $10 million in bribe, says a credible FBI source. You know what the answer will be then? Well, it depends on what your definition of coerce means, bro. You're dealing with dipshits. Freaking dipshits. Tyrants. They don't care. I put this out there for you and for persuadable voters. I am under no illusions that the communist scum we're dealing with on the left care that their oatmeal god-in-chief in the White House is the most corrupt human being to ever enter a political office. They don't care. You like that oatmeal god-in-chief? We do a statue of the oatmeal god river now. By the way, then they'll say, all right, so we coerced them, and they may have taken millions. But really, there's no evidence of that. Oh, really? Because there's a murky origin to $10 million on Biden's 2017 tax returns for the S-Corps. Oh, really? That's reported by Red State. But that don't matter. Then they'll say, okay, 10 million in S-Corps at the Biden. They can't really show where this came from other than from a bribe in Ukraine. At least it was only 10 million. Actually, it wasn't. They think it was more like 20 million. Here, take a listen to Jim Comer on Maria Bartiromo's show saying, 10 million, maybe more. Take a listen.
We have issues with the FBI, but my investigation is about following the money. We're going to continue to follow the money. And Maria, I can assure you there's more money that we're going to be able to identify that was transferred between foreign nationals in other countries and the Biden family. This is going to be hard for Joe Biden to explain, and it's not going to go away. This is going to be an issue, and I think eventually the mainstream media will turn on Joe Biden and start asking the real questions. What did your family do to receive all this money?
What number are you up to now? How much have you identified of the money he's taken in from foreign?
We have more bank records coming in, but we're going to exceed 10 million this week, and I think we'll get up between 20 and 30 million dollars.
So the story now is going to change again. Oh, they didn't do anything wrong. Okay, it was just Hunter that did something wrong. Well, at least Hunter didn't give money to his dad. Well, it was just a little bit of money. Okay, well, it was a bribe. But they didn't ask for it. Okay, they did ask for it, but it was only 10 million. Okay, it was 20 million, but at least Joe's answering questions and being honest about it. Oh, he is? Because he was asked about it yesterday by the New York Post. Joe cleaned up this audio a little bit, but it's a little murky. They asked him a question. Hey, Joe, why is it that the Ukrainians referred to you as the big guy? You know, the big guy, which was in Hunter Biden's email, describing you and your 10% cut from a separate deal? So you're the big guy on multiple deals? Why is it they refer to you as a big guy? Listen to the rotting oatmeal god's answer. Check this out.
Why did they get praised as FBI equipment while referring to the big guy? Why is that first thing? Thanks, guys. Right now, shaky crowd question.
So he's not being honest. He's not being honest. Do you hear what he said? Why do they call you the big guy in Ukraine deal? He responded back, why do you ask such dumb questions? That's a dumb question? Why your business partner to a deal, a credible guy by the name of Tony Bobolinsky, has already said you're the big guy, and then a Ukrainian whistleblower on another alleged bribe deal says you were the big guy too? Folks, there's nothing you can say to these goon scum on the left. You are going to see for every shift, there's going to be another Dan Goldman pop-up. There's going to be a Bernie Sanders pop-up. There's going to be a Liz Warren pop-up. Another lunatic. They know no bounds and no moral or ethical boundaries at all. They have none. It's disgusting. All right, stay tuned. I got a lot more ahead, including absolute insanity from Twinkies number 3, Jerry. He might be actually the original Twinkies number 3, Jerry Nadler, on the floor of the House, suggesting we should mask 2-year-olds again. Get those masks on. They worked so great the first time. I got that, and I got a vote accordingly segment. Something happened with. I'm not a huge fan of Dan Crenshaw, by the way. American flag, pride, right there. So, hold on. Dan Crenshaw did a good job. I'll give him, credit where credit's due. Not a huge fan, but had an activist up there in Capitol Hill. She said, just give me one study. I want you to watch these people completely collapse in the face of evidence. It's glorious. Folks, quick break. You may have heard that all air purifiers are created equal. They are not. If so, why do so many in uniform select EnviroClean? EKPure.com, code Bongino, breathe easy. You'll thank me later. These statements and products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products have not been diagnosed, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition. Thanks, EnviroClean. It's a great product. Folks, this is absolutely insane. Vote accordingly in these elections coming up. You want masks back on your 2-year-olds? The fact that we have been putting out on this show, I was banned from YouTube. I should say suspended, and then we quit. And then they tried to ban us after we quit, which was hilarious. You can't quit, we fire. Remember that, Joe? Yeah. We fired you. The last video on YouTube was literally titled, Why We're Leaving YouTube. And they want, you know what it is? They didn't want that up. They didn't want that up. So they invented some excuse to say, no, you're banned. That's all that was about. Why am I bringing that up here? Because we were banned from YouTube for telling you that cloth surgical masks are ineffective at stopping COVID transmission, which is now proven to be scientifically accurate. Accurate. However, they will lead to the buildup of CO2 and cause a number of issues for kids who need to see lips moving when developing speech patterns. Here is this absolute nut on the House floor, Jerry Nadler, suggesting that, yes, that masks on 2-year-olds, that was it, man. You got to vaccinate them, or else you got to put a mask on. The mask will prevent them. Listen to this nut. It protects against transmission of the disease to the next person. And the healthcare worker certainly ought to be required to be vaccinated. And when we have a pandemic, like the COVID-19 pandemic that we had, 2-year-olds should have been required to wear masks. It would be child abuse for parents not to do that, because there was no vaccination available for 2-year-olds. Folks, we got an election coming up. Please, I am begging you with every single strand of DNA in this breaking down 48, soon to be 49-year-old body, please vote accordingly. These people are nuts. You've got Dan Goldman, absolute liar and fraud, Adam Schiff, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, the wealth confiscators. You got the gun grabbers. You got the rotting oatmeal god. You've got corruptocrats. You've got Hunter Biden. This is the infection inside of our politics right now, today. Jerry Nadler, mask your 2-year-olds. I don't care who you vote for in the primary. It's your business. You know who I'm supporting. I've said it 1,000 times. I'm just telling you, get rid of these people and get them out of office. Masking your 2-year-olds, international bribes, confiscatory tax rates, regulations out the wazoo, stealing away your gas stoves, paying off your neighbor Samuel's kid's student loan, and then cutting your kids' nuts off, too. Wait, what? They want to castrate and mutilate kids. Vote accordingly. Again, not a huge fan of Crenshaw, but whatever. When I see something good, we pluck it out, put it on the show. Here's Dan Crenshaw, Republican congressman, up on Capitol Hill. He's got this activist there who's a Democrat witness, trying to tell you about how great the evidence is about the benefits of mutilating children's bodies when they're confused about which sex they are. So Dan Crenshaw has a simple question. You guys have seen the cut. Pretty simple question, right? Can you show me like one study that says that chopping off the breasts of young girls or the testicles of young boys and castrating them actually benefits them? Like, that sounds kind of like a bold step for a kid, you know? I want you to listen to her answer to show you the truth. These people have no idea what they're talking about. You are dealing with straight up tyrants. Check this out.
Tell me a journal that has done systematic reviews that cites different evidence, that cites strong evidence for benefits of these therapies.
The standards of care were developed based on extensive...
You're not telling me any journal, you're not telling me any study. Don't say standards of care.
Yeah. So,
tell me one.
The standards of care.
That's the standards of care. That's
Yes,
not a journal, that's not a study. That's not an organization, that's not an institution. You're just saying words. Name one study.
Yeah.
I'm out of time.
Folks, can you imagine this? Can you imagine that this is a Democrat witness? She's up there advocating for young bodies to be really damaged for life. that has a significant effect on these kids. Kids. When I'm talking about adults free to make their own decisions, good or bad, I'm talking about kids. And can't cite a single study to do it. Not a single study. Vote accordingly. Here's the country, man. The good news is it always comes back up. We've come back from far worse. And I believe we're about to hit the bottom. But we're never going to hit the bottom if we don't start waking people up around us. Not enough for you? Goldman's lies, Biden's bribes, this activist claiming they have data they don't have so they can support castrating kids. This is insane. Putting masks on 2-year-olds. This is nuts. You want more of this? Here is a liberal, is this ABC? This is an ABC report, right? It's ABC, a left-wing activist group in the media. This is ABC in one of the most liberal cities in America. Rice-A-Roni, the San Francisco treat. Not anymore. The only San Francisco treat now is crime. This is... This is ABC acknowledging that they're trying to do a report from San Francisco and they can't even go downtown because the crime is so bad. Vote accordingly. Take a look.
The mayor noting that several metrics of crime are actually flat or down, but it is worth mentioning that we are not at Union Square or the Westfield Mall this morning because we have been advised it is simply too dangerous to be there at this hour. Michael.
Oh, they're saying a lot there, Matt.
Crime-a-roni, the San Francisco treat. Yeah. Just had to do that.
I used to love rice and roni. You used to have to. I absolutely love rice and roni. You have no idea. And then I think Lipton or something came out with its own version of it that it was all put together in a bag already, so you just had to pour it in, and it was just easier. But man, Joe's right. The only San Francisco treat now is crime. You want more of this? More bribes, more lies, more taxes, no more gas stoves, masks on your 2-year-old, forced vaccinations, media hacks and goons who can't even sit in a liberal city because of the crime, more trans activism in the schools, more CRT telling your kids that they're subhuman because they're white. You want more of that? Vote accordingly, Daddy-O. Consent to the government has to mean something. I got a tyranny tracker coming up. The Biden administration loves doing this deputizing thing. Deputizing, like deputies? Well, not like actual deputies, but the Biden administration knows that if they're going to turn into tyrants, that it's best to do it through third parties, and they think we won't catch on. I'll show you what I mean coming up in a second. Tyranny tracker. Let me get to my next sponsor. Appreciate your patience. Folks, Innovation Refunds. You've seen the CEO of Innovation Refunds.com. Get refunds.com. Thanks. Refunds.com. We appreciate it. Tyranny tracker. Tyranny alert. You want more tyranny? Vote Democrat in 2024. I'm not telling you Republicans are the solution to all your problems. I'm telling you the cause of all your problems are Democrats. Let me say that again. I'm not telling you Republicans are the solution to all your problems. I'm telling you the cause of all your problems are Democrats. They've given up any kind of facade, false patina of being Democrats, supporting democracy anymore. They're outright tyrants now. The Daily Signal has a bombshell here. Tyler O'Neill. The Biden White House, they believe, may be working with the Southern Poverty Law Center, a radical leftist group whose hate list would lead to a terror attack on the Family Research Council. That's how dangerous this group is. That the Biden White House may be working with them, and they were asked a question about it. Working with them on what? Well, the Biden White House may be working with the Southern Poverty Law Center because they won't answer any questions, so it's an open question at this point, on targeting parents again. No. You mean after the FBI, School Boards Association, infamous domestic terror tag for parents that showed up at school boards to complain? Yes, sir. One of the groups that was involved in organizing that is a great group. Hat tip to them. Moms for Liberty. You all are awesome. So because Moms for Liberty are effective at showing up at school boards and advocating for parents' rights and kids' rights in school, you know, Joe, radical ideas. Turns out the Biden White House may be coordinating with the Southern Poverty Law Center that recently labeled Moms for Liberty, you guessed it, a hate group. They keep creeping up in these things. It's a hate groups everywhere. So strange. Well, it's not like the Southern Poverty Law Center has any power. It's not like the FBI's part of. Oh, look, he's got an order. How did you get that? How did you get that? So strange. Washington Times, Valerie Richardson, FBI and Southern Poverty Law Center partnership alarms conservatives. Man, you guys are fast. That's so, I know, gosh. On the fly, just as I type it in and it puts it up there just like that. So strange. You got these deputized third-party groups with a history of rhetorical issues with the violence, rhetorical violence, I'll take their words, rhetorical violence against conservatives that led to actual violence at the Family Research Council. Look up the Floyd Corkins case if you need any proof on that. And it seems like the White House and the FBI want to work along with them. That's really strange. Is the FBI working with Tea Party groups to target liberals? Gosh, I'd hope not, because I'm not actually for political targeting, because I'm not a leftist. Oh, and then we have this one, the Gatestone Institute by Alan Dershowitz. Something I've explained to you before in our Tyranny Tracker segment today. You're a conservative, you're only a year or two away. You're a prominent conservative, it's here now. A really wealthy one. You're not going to be able to get a lawyer. Why Donald Trump can't get a lawyer? There's a group out there, again, deputizing third parties to take away your constitutional rights. It's called the 6-5 Project, or the 65 Project, whatever. Its goal is to intimidate lawyers into not representing Trump or anyone associated with Trump. So, serial murders, legal protection. Terrorists, definitely legal protection. Gitmo detainees, oh man, you're a celebrity on the left for them. Child predators, legal protection. Rapists, definitely legal protection. Lefties love all that stuff, right? And famous people, like Harvey Weinstein and others who get involved with Me Too stuff, legal protection, okay. But you're a conservative, you have no civil liberties. I warned you about this. Folks, I don't want to get sidetracked with personal stories a lot. But briefly, this happened to me. I'm not going to tell you the case or what it was, but when you're in business, you need lawyers, and a lot of them, especially when you're dealing with this kind of volume. Happened to me. Guy had to leave his firm. We are probably 5 or 10 years away from lawyers looking at your Facebook page or whatever it is, seeing you got a MAGA hat on, and you can't find a lawyer. You think I'm being hyperbolic, you will rue the day you had that thought. Trump can't get a lawyer now. Child predators can, just not Trump. And the left, again, they love it. Don't think by calling them out, they're embarrassed. They love the 65 Project, whatever it is. They're going to triple down. That's tyrants. Tyranny's not subtle, folks. They love being considered tyrants, so you're scared of them. I saw this, I don't know, years ago. Changing Rachel Maddow, who, you know, in the media, there's no accountability in the media at all. The left-wing media lies. They lie all the time. They lie often. They lie confidently. They isolate you from the truth. Rachel Maddow, Moscow Maddow, Russia Rachel is one of the worst. Just a disgrace. Again, a genuinely awful human being. She lied about the tax returns. Remember she brought the tax returns out? Oh my gosh, look, we have here no illegality at all in there. Rachel Maddow told you about the vaccine, how effective the vaccine was. Told you about the PP hoax forever. Just a disgrace. I mean, even for opinion people, why you'd have so many wrong opinions still be on the air is ridiculous. So this is hilarious. This is a Maddow versus Maddow. I got this off Dave Rubin's account. @Tip Dave. Here's Rachel Maddow. If you're listening on audio, you're going to hear her first. This was just the other day. She's talking about how MSNBC won't broadcast Trump's speeches because they're committed to honesty, folks. This is the PP network. Honesty. They won't put anything on there that's fake, except the impeachment hoax, the Russian disinformation hoax, the Moscow Maddow PP hoax, and any other hoax involving Donald Trump. But then you're going to hear Rachel Maddow go into bat for the vaccine, despite the fact that, by the liberals' own standards, she ain't a scientist. Which doesn't matter to me, but that's what the left know. Oh, you're not a scientist? And she doesn't know jack squat about epidemiology. Here, listen.
There is a cost to us as a news organization to knowingly broadcast untrue things. We are here to bring you the news. It hurts our ability to do that if we live broadcast what we fully expect in advance to be a litany of lies and false accusations, no matter who says them. Instead of the virus being able to hop from person to person to person, potentially mutating and becoming more virulent and drug resistant along the way. Now we know that the vaccines work well enough that the virus stops with every vaccinated person. We take our responsibilities seriously. A vaccinated person gets exposed to the virus. The virus does not infect them. The virus cannot then use that person to go anywhere else. We revisit decisions like this all the time. I cannot use a vaccinated person as a host to go get more people. We make the best call that we can in real time, every time. That means the vaccines will get us to the end of this.
When I first guest hosted, for Sean Hannity, he was kind enough to let me take over his radio show. I don't know, about 8 years ago. I was working with his producer, Linda, and we did a segment, Obama versus Obama. It was the exact same thing. Obama effectively debating himself on an issue. These projects are going to be great. They're going to juice the economy. Projects weren't so shovel-ready. This went on for like 5 minutes. Obama debating himself. This is the left. We don't put anything on there that's fake. Despite the vaccine stories, the Moscow PP tape story, the Russian disinformation story, the collusion hoax story, the 51 intelligence officials story, the quid pro quo story, all of that was fake. You have to begin to wonder, do they put anything on the air that's actually real? That's what you have to ask yourself. Who, Matt out, you think? Oh, Fauci. Oh, yeah. No, you're right. It's a good point. Justin brings up a good point. If you're going to do, maybe we should do that. Maybe we should, what do you guys think? Maybe we should do like a monthly, once a month, someone versus someone. Because there's so much material that Joy Reid, Fauci, you're correct. Masks, they don't work. You get a little schmutz. Wear your mask or you're all gonna die. Fauci, you're right, is the king. He is the debate champion on both sides. He's the winner and the biggest loser, just like the TV show, every single time. Biden's good. Obama's great. Obama did it too. Don't let Obama slip. I wish I had that segment from Show and Show. I had a whole bunch of it. Biden's got more material, you're right. He's been around for like 80 years. It's pretty good. All right, here's what I got coming up next. Karl Rove wrote a piece in the Wall Street Journal about how much trouble Trump is in with this classified documents thing. Folks, I'm sorry, Rove is just wrong. Either he doesn't understand the Presidential Records Act, he may be in political trouble. Fair enough. People vote on that stuff. Legally, he's in trouble. He obviously got indicted. But I don't think Rove really understands the law here. I'll show you what I mean coming up in a second. Then a quick thing on the budget and then questions for Dan. We got some good ones, which is interesting because they didn't start out so great. We had to tighten it up there. Now they're looking good. I'm hungry. Nobody's home. Just me. Omaha steaks. I'm throwing an Omaha steak. I'm going to heat that pan, put a little butter in there, a little Omaha steaks, plus the 8 free Omaha Steaks burgers for only $99.99. Gifting's easy. Dads want steak. And Omaha Steaks isn't just steak. It's the best steak of your life, guaranteed. Don't wait. Go to omahasteaks.com, type Bongino in the search bar, and order the Dad's favorite gift package for Father's Day today. Don't wait. That's omahasteaks.com. Keyword Bongino. Delicious. Folks, listen, Karl Rove doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm sorry. It's not a personal beef. He actually did a really nice thing for me one time when I had cancer. I don't discount that. But, listen, people have different political opinions. And personally, I've learned to separate the two a long time ago. The same way I feel about Crenshaw. Guy's got an amazing history of service to the country. No doubt about that. Got my respect for that. I have different political opinions. I feel the same way about Rove. He did help me out a lot, but he's just plain wrong on this. He did a Wall Street Journal opinion piece, and I'm seeing a lot of this, even on the right. People absolutely convinced that this Presidential Records Act, that seems to be the basis of this, for this Espionage Act charge, people convinced that this thing is hook, line, and sinker for Trump that he's done. I don't believe that at all. Here's what Rove wrote. He wrote, one of the relevant statutes in the Presidential Records Act states that the U.S. shall reserve and retain complete ownership, possession, and control of presidential records. Okay. The presidential record defines these in the most expansive way imaginable. He talks about scraps of paper and all this other stuff. That's not how this works, Carl. There's already judicial precedent on this. Yes, the United States shall reserve and retain complete ownership, possession, and control of presidential records according to the PRA. However, the president gets to determine what his personal records are. This has already been established in a court of law. It's not Dan Bongino's opinion. Just look. Just the news, John Solomon. Here is a 2012 legal decision that was never appealed, folks. Again, it's not personal against Carl. The president determines what's a personal record, not Rove. Not the National Archives. Let me read the quote from the judge in the case. Amy Berman Jackson, who, believe me, is no conservative. Quote, under the statutory scheme established by the Presidential Records Act, the decision to segregate personal materials from presidential records is made by the president during the president's term and in his sole discretion. That's a March 2012 decision, which was never appealed. You can't leave that out. Does it mean Trump's going to get off? It doesn't mean that. He may not. I don't know. I don't know what the jury's going to decide. But you can't write that piece without acknowledging that. And then you say, well, even if it wasn't classified, he gave them national defense information. He showed it to someone. He could have showed them anything. The question is, did he show them? The question is, did they see it? I did this the other day. Here, I just showed you, man. What's on my medication? What is it? I just showed it to you. Oh, you don't know? I just showed it to you on the live chat. You don't know what it is? Did you see it is the question. Correct? Read this case, U.S. versus Rosen. If you're going to give them national security information, knew the person to whom the disclosures would be made were not authorized to receive they have to receive the information. There's no evidence anywhere in that indictment anybody saw when Trump showed them. I'm not playing word games. Read the indictment yourself. I think it's count 36 and 35 or 35 and 34. Read it yourself. People get lost in this anti-Trump hysteria. Finally, this is going to piss a few people off, but I got to throw it out there anyway. Listen, I'm going to get to the questions in a second, but just briefly on this. Read this article in my newsletter. It's from the Washington Times. Harris Alec. Bongino.com/newsletter. Folks, Medicare and Social Security are going broke. It's not a matter of my opinion. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just talking about pure math. This piece notes the Board of Trustees at Medicare, they're not politicians, estimates that by 2028, this fund is going to run out. Okay, that's a fact. On Social Security, the situation's just as bad. Social Security is going to run dry probably by, what is it? Go to the next, what is it, 2032? 2034. They're only going to be able to pay out 3/4 of benefit. Folks, we can fix it now and make sure that
I was going to say, it does sound like dog chat.
Yeah, could you imagine?
Oh, you beautiful boy.
You want your kisses?
I don't know
how these Queenslanders flirt. We don't know.
That's just us talking origin. That's just what you like.
So much of this happens to be on your phone. You've seen this.
Well, the message has come through, yeah.
Straight away, Amy's tried to unsend it, but you're like, I saw that.
Yeah, I guess Amy probably saw me see it, and then you unsent it, and then no one said anything, and I was like, I'm just going to leave that forever. And then I see on the radio. But even funnier, AB, is I could see myself doing something very similar and then talking about it on the airwaves.
Yeah.
So it was very funny seeing you do it. But thanks so much for that message. Was I a good boy?
As long as you liked it, I'll keep going.
Where's the spot you like those kisses?
Also, I don't know if it says more about AB and how she talks to her dog. Like, it's kind of...
No.
Yeah, do you want to pack that, AB?
Yeah, that definitely needs some time with
Anyway, I thought I'd share with you guys. Bit of cross radio world there.
Totally.
Yeah.
Now, Morgan bought this story.
The University of Newcastle has over 100 undergraduate degrees that you can start in July.
our grandparents are taken care of, and they should be. And that people 55 and older from this point are taken care of. Or you can do nothing and just take the cut yourself. I need you to understand there's no middle. But Dan, I paid in. I paid in too. 48, I'm paying in since I'm, 18? I'm sorry, the government wasted your money. It's just a fact. All right, time for questions for Dan. Cleaned them up nice. Good question. At TrustyRHRT on True Social. I just read the names. Hey, Dan. Why does the President's Secret Service detail hold the beast? You mean the limo? The car door in that manner. Okay. So if you ever see a picture of a Secret Service agent and the president exiting the limo, we don't call it the beast, but I get it. It's called the limo in the Camp Davids, but probably you've heard that in the media somewhere. He's like, please don't. The beast. I know. He's like, Joe's past please don't, because Joe's been here the longest. Joe got over please don't, just like he got over please don't with the Black Swan. Like he's like, I'm clearly not going to change. So I mean, it's called the limo. You'll see they always hold it the same way. One hand goes up in the corner of the car door. Why? Because you don't want the president to hit his head in that corner and split his head open. It's pretty simple. But why do we hold the door with two hands like that? Because, obviously without giving away the weights, the doors are really, really heavy. So number one, if you gotta throw them back in, I want to control that door, not the wind. Because if that door closes on the president's fingers, I've got news for you. You're gonna have a fingerless president. If it closes on his leg, you're gonna have a fractured femur. Also, we want to make sure that nobody opens the door to the limo or the Camp David package, the Suburban, until we absolutely know it's safe. Just watch, you'll see. You'll watch the Secret Service guys. They'll look around. You'll see it. I mean, I'm not giving away secrets. You can see it in the sight. You'll see a boss come out and give the nod, and they'll open the door. The president doesn't open his own door. Ever. Ever. We open it. At Publius Jr. This is from locals. Hey, Dan, if Biden got $10 million, did Obama get something? Usually there's a tribute paid higher up. Getting caught rarely happens on the first foray into bad behavior. Listen, it's a good question, Publius Jr. I don't know the answer to that. However, I am reasonably confident that there is no way this Biden bribe took place without Barack Obama knowing. Obama made Biden the point man on Ukraine, never took him off the point over there. The Wall Street Journal wrote an article about the Biden team, the Obama team knowing about Biden's corruption. So there's no way he didn't know. Did he get a cut of it? I don't know that. I'd be speculating. There's no question in my mind he knew, though, which makes him just as guilty. Remember, if you're paying Biden a bribe for policy decisions, he's the vice president. He can't make policy decisions. The president makes them. The president had been bribed, too. De facto or de jure. The villain won on Rumble. Hey, Dan, I'm in a blue state that could easily go red next election. What's the best suggestion to get the people excited again and push us across the finish line? Listen, the best thing you can do is my 10, 10, and 10 rule. Send 10 emails before the next election to your group of people. Oh, I'm going to lose friends. You're going to lose your country. Okay? Make 10 Facebook, Twitter posts, True Social posts, Rumble posts.
Here, come and hang out with me every Tuesday on my brand new podcast called Can We Be Real? There's nothing fake or filtered going on here. We're not going to be too worried about what anyone thinks of us. We're just going to keep it real about everything from the fun to the serious, and we love it when you share your deepest secrets too, like this.
I work in admin and I'm stealing cash from my workplace. Normally up to $100 a week, but the most I've stolen in one call is $500. The only thing I feel bad about is lying to my partner when he asks me why I have cash in my purse.
Come on, get involved. Search up Can We Be Real on all podcast platforms.
Installing a new TV is oh so easy with the Optus O team. Our experts can
Think again about blood. Think plasma. Search Give Plasma to learn more or book a donation with Australia.
Because that was perfect. That's me. I love it. It's a great challenge for you to look down every nook and cranny. I could be here forever. just to put things in perspective. And I think that's a sign of a good detective.
This is the Narelle Fraser Conversations on Australian True Crime. Because women don't always have to be the subjects of true crime for all the worst reasons.
And I thought I was going to get pinged there and then.
The numbers were just growing, and looking at it, you just thought there's no way you can survive. It was just, it was unreal.
Okay, my guest today was a member of Victoria Police for 22 years. She attained the rank of Detective Sergeant at Diamond Creek Socket, Sex Offence and Child Abuse Investigative Team. She won 3 AW's Police Person of the Year in 2002. She's what's called Participant Protection Manager at Racing Victoria. It's a newly created position to respond and investigate incidents of inappropriate conduct within the thoroughbred racing industry. Such things as, like, say, harassment, discrimination and workplace bullying. She was Principal Investigator at IBAC, the Independent Broad-Based Anti-Corruption Commission. She was Manager of Investigations in the Northern Territory Office of the Children's Commissioner. She was a Senior Detective in Child Abuse Task Force in the Northern Territory. And in